Hi, everyone. Welcome to our online engagement event for the Evergreen Neighbourhood. My name is Natalie Bode, and I'm the Senior Transportation Engineer responsible for neighbourhood traffic reviews. I'm joined by Chelsea Lanning, the Project Manager for the Evergreen Neighbourhood Traffic Review, and with Julian Petras, another member of the Neighbourhood Traffic Review team, who'll be helping us to manage the Q&A forum. We look forward to working with you to address the traffic issues in your neighborhood. Please note that the meeting will be recorded and posted to the Engage page for the Evergreen Neighbourhood Traffic Review. This will allow residents who aren't able to attend tonight to watch the video and let us know if they can think of any additional traffic concerns. This is our first online meeting, so we appreciate your patience as we go through the materials. We apologize in advance if there's a delay in your video. It depends on everyone's internet connection tonight, so please bear with us. To ensure that the meeting runs as smoothly as possible and to minimize technical difficulties with audio, we ask that everyone type their comments in the question and answer box, and I'll read them out. If you're unable to type your comments in the question and answer box, or if you have any other technical issues during the meeting, we ask that you reach out to us through one of the other engagement methods to submit your traffic concerns. We have options for email, phone, an online survey, letters, the Report a Traffic Issue app, and we'll provide details for all of those methods a little bit later in the meeting. I hope that everyone's had a chance to review our video series. The series provides an overview about the neighborhood traffic review process, common solutions that we use to address traffic issues, and traffic concerns that have been previously brought to our attention by residents in Evergreen. So if you haven't had a chance to view it yet, we encourage you to go to the Engage page after the meeting and maybe take a look at them. They have some good information. But our purpose of the meeting tonight is that we're hoping to hear from you. We want to know where you're experiencing traffic issues, things like speeding, pedestrian and cyclist safety, or traffic safety. You are our local experts for Evergreen. You know your neighborhood the best, and we rely on your knowledge to help identify the problem areas. So please feel free to start entering your comments in the chat box or the question and answer box while I make a couple more introductions. So Councillor Zach Jeffries, who is your council representative, is attending his ward coffee meeting this evening. So he's planning to join us a little bit later, around 8:30, when his coffee meeting's wrapped up. And I'd like to also introduce Staff Sergeant Nolan Berg of the Saskatoon Police Service Traffic Unit. Staff Sergeant Nolan, would you like to say a few words? Oh, I can't hear you. Are you on mute? No, you're. Might be having a mic issue, maybe. Do you want to take a minute and I'll go over some other things? Okay, sure. Okay, we'll come back to Staff Sergeant Berg in a couple minutes once he has his microphone worked out. So we'll begin with Chelsea, if you want to share your screen, and we can start with an overview of the locations of concern that we've heard so far.
Hello, everyone. Again, my name is Chelsea Lanning, and I'll be the project manager for the Evergreen NTR. Today, we will be discussing traffic in your neighborhood, including things you like and issues you currently have. I'm just going to show you a map of your neighborhood to get you oriented. So Evergreen is bound by Fedoric Drive, city limits, U of S lands in Kernan Prairie and a system of linear parks. McOrmond Drive runs through the neighborhood here. Low Road is here. Zari Road is up here. The school site is here. And Evergreen Square is here. So far we've heard some issues from your neighborhood. And I have a few of them written down here to go over with you tonight. As far as pedestrian crossings go, they're shown in green on this map, and we've heard requests for upgraded crossings at Zari Road and Sauer Crescent, the north leg, Evergreen Boulevard and Mahabir Crescent, Low Road and Atten Lane / Pohareki Crescent, Balton Boulevard and Akhtar Bend. And I also wanted to mention that on Low Road and Atten Crescent, the rectangular rapid flashing beacon, or RRFB, is planned to be removed. The zebra crosswalk will remain. The RRFB was installed as part of a pilot project for these type of devices. And since then, the Transportation Association of Canada has published guidelines for the use of these devices, and this location did not meet the criteria. So therefore, this device will be relocated to another location in Saskatoon, and this work will be occurring in 2020 or 2021. We've also had some requests for parking restrictions. Those are shown in light blue on this map, and those locations are at Evergreen Boulevard and Wyant Lane, and Marlot Crescent and Akhtar Bend. Changes to traffic signage, shown in red on the map, have been requested at Evergreen Square. There was a request for some additional one-way signage, and we're planning to install some this summer. And then at Glacial Shores Manor and Manick Road, there's been a request to upgrade that yield sign to a stop sign due to its proximity to the school site. Speeding concerns were brought to our attention in several locations, and those are shown in yellow on the map. And these include Atten Crescent, Evergreen Boulevard near Zari Road, Evergreen Boulevard near Fedoric Drive, and Manick Road between Evergreen Boulevard and the school. So these are some of the concerns we've heard so far, and we're here tonight to gather more feedback from you so that we can create a plan for gathering traffic data and performing site observations before coming back to talk to you again. We will also be using Google Maps so that we can zoom into any locations you have concerns about. And I'm getting some information that Staff Sergeant Nolan Berg has his mic working, so maybe I'll toss it over to him before Natalie starts reading questions that you type into the comment box.
Can you hear me okay there? Yeah, okay, very good. I just want to say thank you for inviting me to this meeting. I'm very happy to be here and to bring whatever perspective I can. There may be some questions that come up in terms of what's applicable as far as police traffic enforcement is concerned. For those who are on this meeting, my current assignment is I'm responsible for the traffic enforcement section. So the contents of these meetings and the discussions that will arise, these are items that are very much of interest to me. So I'm very grateful to all the attendees who've taken the time out of their day to come and join us and provide their perspective. So thank you to all of those who are here tonight.
Thanks very much, Staff Sergeant Nolan Berg. We always appreciate when you can attend our meetings, and it's great to see the collaboration between the police service and the transportation division to address our residents' concerns. So thanks very much for taking the time to be here. We're going to head over to the question and answer forum now. And let me just see if anyone submitted any comments. If you haven't had a chance, please do so now so that we can hear where you've seen some issues in your neighborhood. All right. Right, it looks like most of the concerns that we've gotten so far are related to the delay in starting the meeting. And that was just related to us ensuring that all of the attendees had logged on before we made the event live. So I think that has been resolved. We'll just give it a couple more minutes for people to submit their thoughts. And if you're on your phone, I know it can be frustrating to type all of those comments in. So if you don't want to take the time to do that, like I said, we are available through email or phone or whatever's most convenient to you. I'll just bring the map up now so we can have that in the background as we go over the concerns. Chelsea, while we wait for some of the comments to come in, did you want to talk about some of the concerns that we've heard since we prepared the slides?
Hi, yeah, I can do that. So since preparing the slide that I just went through, we've received a few more comments from your neighbors. Those included speeding on Kloppenberg Bend. We also got a comment that late at night, kind of 11 p.m. and later, there's vehicle noise and people are hearing vehicles speeding and racing is the term that they used. And they believe that that's going on McOrmond Drive or Fedoric Drive. So we got that comment.
We have another one that just came in here from the Q&A box.
Perfect.
So the comment is that there's some issues with traffic on Marlot Crescent. The streets are too narrow for two-way traffic, particularly in the winter when I'm guessing there's some snow accumulated on the side there. And there's a video, but I don't think they can load it here. So something else to note?
Yeah, so I have heard that from some of your neighbors, slower streets on Marlot, narrow with parking. There were a couple others in the neighborhood, Akhtar Bend, and I do have some information on that, if you just bear with me for a second here. So the majority of our local roads are designed to have parking on both sides, and they're designed to be narrower than a road that carries a significant amount of traffic. And a lot of the reason for that is to slow these vehicles down. It's common practice in cities throughout Canada, and it's usually helping to reduce speed on local streets, and it's on shorter local streets. So through this project, we wouldn't be looking to remove parking from one side of the street entirely, which I've had requests for on Marlot and on Akhtar Bend. But we would consider parking restrictions that are in alignment with our parking restriction bylaw. And those include parking too close to the intersection or parking too close to a driveway. So within that bylaw 7200, it states that vehicles shouldn't be parked within 1 meter of a private driveway or 10 meters of an intersection. So if you're seeing things like that going on in your neighborhood, you can call parking enforcement and tell them the location. Their number is 306-975-8344. So yeah, so if there are visibility issues, we'll restrict parking, but we typically don't restrict parking along an entire side of a street.
Okay, thanks for that, Chelsea. We had another comment here that the traffic circles really help with slowing down the traffic in the neighborhood.
That's great to hear. Thank you for that comment. At a couple of the traffic circles, we've heard that same thing from your neighbors. We've also heard a little bit about some difficulties with visibility for pedestrians, particularly at the traffic circle on Evergreen Boulevard and Manick Road. So that will be a location that I go and do a site visit and make sure that there's nothing that can be modified to improve it.
Okay, we have a couple comments coming in related to the same issue. So for Marlot Crescent, one suggestion is to maybe change the streets to one-way traffic. That could help allow parking on both sides and still address the narrowness of the street. And another comment that the streets are too narrow on Meningus Bend as well, and parking is always a concern. Leaving out of the back lane, going on Wyant to Evergreen is very dangerous. Oh, and I know we've heard about Evergreen and Wyant previously as well.
Yeah, so we had heard about vehicles parking close to the intersection and sightline issues at that intersection of Wyant Lane and Evergreen Boulevard.
Yes, yeah. So that's what this comment is reflecting as well, that they can't see oncoming traffic, particularly if they're driving in their lower vehicle, because there's so many vehicles parked close together on Evergreen Boulevard, and many of them are quite large. All right, and we have a street name blade correction that's needed. Dalglish is missing an L, so we'll have to take a look at that. Must be a printing error when the sign shop put those out. Another comment here. Sorry, it's just taking me a minute to filter through these. There's an abundance of excessive acceleration at the three-way stop of Zari and Evergreen, particularly when coming off of Evergreen Boulevard to Zari. Can anything be done to reduce that excessive acceleration? I know at Evergreen and Zari, we've also heard concerns about people blowing the stop sign that we didn't have a chance to upload to the slide. So,
yeah, and we have also heard about speeding on Zari Road, so that'll be something that we measure. Driver behavior is something that is difficult to really do anything about, the fast acceleration, but we can look to see if there's excessive speeds close to the intersection and try and look at what can be done about that to minimize it.
Right. So I don't see any new ones getting entered here. So did you want to go over a couple more of the ones that we've heard since we prepared the slides?
Sure. Just let me find where I was here. Traffic failing to stop at Evergreen Boulevard and Zari Road intersection. We've heard about pedestrians crossing Zari Road at the 900 block of Sauer Crescent, which I think I did mention in my slide, but we've heard about that one quite a bit. It connects to the linear park system, and I've also been told by residents that there's some greenery that is kind of blocking sight lines for pedestrians when they're coming out of the park and trying to cross the street. So that's going to be an important location for me to look at. People parking in front of the stop signs at Zari Road and Evergreen Boulevard. So that
could be tied to that blowing the stop signs, sorry.
Yeah, it could be contributing to that for sure. And we've heard that before. And I do believe that we've posted no parking signs at that intersection along the, would it be east side of the street. But if there's enforcement is an issue, let parking services know. And if I'm out there and I see people parking incorrectly, I'll also let parking services know. And just make sure that the signs are up.
in the right place. Yeah. I also have a comment here. For excessive speeding, are the speed radars that flash the driver's speed a viable option?
Yeah, so those are, we do those through this program. They're called speed display boards, and we install those temporarily, usually for 6 months, something like that. Just because if we leave them up indefinitely, drivers get used to them and stop really seeing them, and then they're less effective. But in the beginning, when we put them up, oftentimes drivers don't realize how fast they're going, and it's a good reinforcement for them to slow down. So we have seen that they're effective in many of the locations that we install them.
So as a follow-up to that one, there was a question about how is the decision made on whether or not to deploy those signs?
To deploy a
speed display board. How do we decide whether or not we recommend one?
So as I'm going through the data collection phase, working through this neighborhood traffic review, I'll be measuring the speeds on Zari Road. That's one location that's come up a few times. So we'll measure, and that measurement is over usually 3 to 7 days of data, 24 hours of the day. And if through that data we see that there is a speeding issue, there's a few things that we can do. One of them is the speed display board. We can also use horizontal deflections on a street like Zari Road to try and bring those speeds down. And then if we see that there's excessive speeding and it's happening consistently at a certain time of day, we'll often forward that information off to our friends at the police department, and the traffic unit can then target their work around the data that we've collected so that they can be as effective as they can be as well.
Yeah, and just to follow up on that is that the speed display boards, as Chelsea mentioned, are only temporary. So depending how significant the speeding issue will be, will determine if we recommend a temporary measure or something more permanent like those traffic calming devices. Okay, so we have another comment here that the westbound guide sign in the center median of Evergreen Boulevard, west of McCormick Drive, is totally obscured by trees. So I think that's probably the guide sign approaching the roundabout. I'm not too sure on that, but if it's on Evergreen Boulevard west of McCormick, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. Okay. We'll take that down, and if we can tree trim, we'll look into that.
That's good.
I guess I'll take this opportunity to say that that's another good point. This is a newer neighborhood, so there might not be trees large enough to obstruct signs. But if you're driving around the neighborhood and you see that there's a sign that's blocked by leaves or whatever, you can send those in to me as well, and we'll get those looked at.
Yeah, and just to add to that, urban forestry has a 7-year tree trimming rotation cycle. So they should get to your neighborhood every 7 years. But if we are seeing issues prior to that, we can definitely accelerate some of the tree trimming for the problem signs that are blocked. Okay, so no other questions in the chat quite yet. So keep going with your list there, Chelsea, please.
Sure. So speeding on Evergreen Boulevard, from the intersection of Zari Road to the roundabout northeast of the school. It's a long stretch, and there are countless vehicles speeding on this route. And we've heard speeding concerns about really the majority of Evergreen Boulevard. So there's that. There has been a request for a sound barrier for the residents of Glacial Shores that back McCormick Drive. The intersection of Fedoric Drive and McCormick Road has continually become louder with more traffic and racing late in the evening. So we got that in. Our sound barrier or sound wall devices, we have a policy that talks about when we'll install sound barriers. And I'm just going to bring up that information now. So locations for sound attenuation measures are reviewed under the Traffic Noise Sound Attenuation Program. So this program was created to help maintain the quality of outdoor amenity space in residential areas located adjacent to high-speed roadways. So McCormick Drive is an arterial roadway, and so it would be eligible for consideration under this policy. However, I do believe there's a berm, and if a berm already exists, a berm is a sound attenuation measure, so it's unlikely that it would qualify for additional sound attenuation measures.
Thanks for that.
And then I think I'm actually nearing the end of my list. I know we had requests for additional pedestrian crossings on Balton Boulevard and Boykowicz Crescent on both ends of Boykowicz Crescent. Excessive speeding in the morning, speed and noisy vehicles with limited mufflers in the evenings, close to Evergreen Square was one that we'd heard, especially people leaving Leopold's. We've also heard about drivers going the wrong way on the one-way near those businesses in Evergreen Square. So we have plans out right now to install some additional one-way signage to help make it more clear that that is a one-way loop. So hopefully that will help alleviate the problem, but if you're still seeing issues through the summer, let me know. You're there every day and I'm only there a few days.
I also see one, Chelsea, about pedestrian safety at the roundabout at Evergreen Boulevard, Manick Road, and Pahareki. Pedestrians trying to cross Manick Road, it is difficult to see people with the angle of the turn onto Manick. Looks like there might be a fence there, and it's causing dangerous conditions for pedestrians crossing there. Some of the drivers are coming in pretty fast from McCormick, and they don't slow enough going around that roundabout. Sounds like from that resident's comment.
Yeah, I had heard that through email as well, so that'll be a location for a site investigation for sure, to see if there's anything that can be improved.
Yeah, I think one of the residents suggested maybe an RRFB for the pedestrian crossing. So those are all the questions that we had assembled. I don't see any more in the chat box, but we're happy to hear if you think there's locations that are working well as well that you wouldn't want to see changed, because if someone has brought it up as a concern, we'll be investigating the issue. So if you really like something, let us know that as well, so that we don't change something that you don't want changed. We did hear a couple years back some issues at the school site as well. I think it was the really cold winter when the buses weren't running. So a lot of parents were driving children to school. So I don't know if that's improved since then. But we work with the school to come up with solutions on circulation around their site. And we'll continue to work with them if that continues to be an issue. All right. I'm not seeing any other comments come in on the Q&A forum quite yet, so we'll give it a few more minutes. Chelsea, would you like to give them an update on the vehicle noise study that we might be doing shortly?
Sure. Just having a technical issue at the moment with my notes here. Oh, I've got it figured out. Okay. So you may have heard that there's been some noise concerns, vehicle noise concerns in the city. So vehicle noise has been an ongoing issue, and the existing traffic noise sound attenuation program addresses traffic noise for very specific circumstances. So many locations are not eligible for traffic noise sound attenuation under the existing policy. To address noise for these other locations, we need to investigate traffic noise mitigation strategies that could apply for the entire city. So there is a provincial funding grant application going to council on Monday, I believe, to apply for funding for a vehicle noise study. So once we have funding for that study, we'll be looking for a vehicle noise mitigation specialist to conduct research, complete a jurisdictional review, engage key stakeholders, prepare a cost estimate, and recommend possible mitigation measures that could be presented for the next budgeting cycle. So we hope these actions will help us make progress on the vehicle noise issue throughout Saskatoon.
Okay, a couple more comments have come in now. One is about the speed at the pedestrian crosswalk at the corner of Sauer and Zari. So not just related to the pedestrian crossing there, but also the speeds of traffic there.
Yeah, the comments that I've received for that location have really been that compound issue of difficulty crossing, sight line issues for pedestrians, visibility issues at the location, and speeding from vehicles in both directions. So that's definitely something that we'll need to look into.
Great. And another one for Low Road, just south of Evergreen. It has some very steep ditches, and a car could roll over if they went off the road. Can anything be done to make the road safer?
I don't have an answer off the top of my head for that one, but I can find an answer and provide it in the meeting minutes. I believe the speed limit on that street is 50, which hopefully should help keep it safer.
Yeah, I believe I'm not sure on the status of the installation, but we were also planning to install some sharp drop-off pavement edge signs this summer. So hopefully that will make drivers aware of that hazard. Okay. All right, while we wait for some more comments to come in, would you like to give them an update on the Zari Road construction schedule?
Fedoric Drive?
Oh, Fedoric, yes, sorry.
Yeah, sure.
Many times.
So we spoke with some of our colleagues who are in charge of completing the additional 2 lanes of construction on Fedoric Drive, and they've informed us that they're planning to construct those additional 2 lanes between Central Avenue and Zari Road this fall. So you should see work happening out there between August and October to complete those additional 2 lanes. I know I did get some comments from the neighborhood asking when that would be completed, and also commenting that some people aren't aware that it's two-way traffic. So the plan is to construct that section of Fedoric Drive to its complete state this fall.
And we had a follow-up comment on the low road issue. It looks like it's 60 kilometers per hour there. And there was a suggestion that maybe jersey barriers would help.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I'm just going to add something in the chat box now, and I'll add it later, just so I don't forget. Because this is our first online engagement event, we're looking for feedback on how the format has worked. So we have a bit of a survey there, if you can provide us some feedback, not just on online engagement, but the NTR program in general. There's some questions in the survey. All right. So, okay, I'm not seeing any other comments coming in. So maybe just for some of the people who didn't watch the video series, did you want to go over some of the other projects? Like the McCormick speed limit change, McCormick and Central?
Sure. So that's actually a timely one. So recently, City Council voted to change the speed limits on Central Avenue and on McCormick Drive through the Northeast Swale to 60 kilometers per hour. And that change will be in effect as of August 1st, 2020. So right around the corner here. It'll be increased from 50 kilometers per hour to 60 kilometers per hour.
Okay, and we had another one come in about Fedoric. So once the construction is completed, will it remain a three-way stop or will a light be installed? I'm assuming that's at Zari.
Yeah, so there's no plans for any signalized intersections currently along Fedoric Drive. They weren't part of the neighborhood concept plan, and they weren't deemed necessary through the traffic assessments that we have our developers do when they submit a neighborhood to us. So if lights are requested at this location, we would probably wait until it's four lanes of traffic and do some counting then, but it would go into the queue for installation and review with all of our other locations citywide. So it would either be controlled by a one-way stop on Zari Road or a three-way stop as it is today. I don't have that answer for you at this time.
Okay, that sounds good. Thanks, Chelsea. I'm not seeing anything else in the chat box quite yet. Maybe I'll just take a minute to thank all of you for attending our meeting over the ward coffee meeting. You're in the right place. I'm assuming that some others may jump on after the ward meeting, so we may get additional concerns at that point. right. So while we have a bit of downtime, we'll just provide you with an update on what we're going to do with the information we collect and the concerns we've heard and will continue to hear. Just 1 second. Sorry, we're just getting things set up here.
So did you want me to go through this, Natalie?
It's up to you. I can do it as well. I'm just trying to figure out the slides if you prefer.
Okay.
So I have it up now. So the comment period will be open for another month. And once we close the comment period, we'll begin our data collection plan for the study, which will include field observations and traffic counting, pedestrian counts. But because of the results or the changes in behaviors from COVID-19, we're currently monitoring traffic volumes and patterns, travel patterns. So once those patterns and behaviors start to normalize a bit, that's when we will begin our data collection. We're already seeing things start to come back to normal because of the reopening plan and how far along we are with reopening. So we anticipate that data collection could begin again in the fall. So once the data is collected, we will prepare a draft traffic plan and share it with you at another meeting so that we can get your feedback on that plan. And if you'd like to be kept up to date via email, please subscribe at the Saskatoon.ca Engage page. We'll notify you in advance of the next meeting, but you'll still also get the paper flyer if that's how you heard about the event this time. Right. Let me just double check, make sure other comments didn't come in here while I was chatting. No, I don't see anything. So we encourage you to share the information with your neighbors. They may not have participated tonight, and we want to make sure we hear from as many people in the neighborhood as we can. So please share it with your neighbors, your family members, or the businesses you frequent in the neighborhood. So please feel free to reach out to us if you think of anything else. As mentioned earlier, we have multiple methods to submit comments. We have email, phone, online survey, letters, report a traffic issue app, and the link is showing there on the screen. And all of these details are available on the Saskatoon.ca Engage page. So please don't be strangers. Chelsea will be in and around your neighborhood pretty frequently doing her observations. So if you see her, give her a wave, but please maintain your distance. During COVID, we don't want to get too close, right? And again, I encourage you to submit the online survey to give your feedback on how the online meeting went. We're always looking to improve, and if you have any suggestions, we'll keep them in mind. So we're going to stay online for additional comments and concerns, at least until after the ward coffee meeting. So you're welcome to stay on with us and keep continuing to submit comments. But if you do need to go, if you want to go enjoy some sunshine, We will be posting the recording on the Engage page, and you can catch up with any additional comments that way as well. So thanks to everyone for joining us, and hopefully some of you will stay on with us, and if not, we'll touch base again another time.
Hello.
Hi, Councillor Jeffries.
How did everything go?
And I'm just going to introduce you here.
Sure.
Right. Welcome back, everyone. It's now 8:30 and the ward coffee meeting has ended. So Councillor Zach Jeffries, your council representative, has been able to join us. Thanks so much for joining when you could, Councillor Jeffries. Did you have any comments you wanted to share with the group for tonight?
Sure. So anyone who's getting a chance to watch, whether it's live or taking a look later, I just want to say welcome and a big thank you. You know what, we often think about all the things that happen within a city, within an organization like the City of Saskatoon, and there's a lot. But when it comes to issues like safety and issues like traffic flow and all of that, your input in this process is so important to make sure that we get it right. And not only do I appreciate your commitment to try to make sure we get these things right, but I appreciate your commitment and your showing that you care about our city. I can think of so many communities where you wouldn't be able to host something in person or host something online and actually get people to come out, with a lot of input and a lot of suggestions about how we can do better. So you're showing that you care about your city, you take pride in place. That means a lot to me. And also just want to say thank you to Natalie and to her entire team in transportation. There's, I know while we all see ourselves as amateur transportation engineers, and I am going to admit that I'm guilty of that myself at times, we have great professionals behind the scenes who do a lot of hard work, not only to keep things moving in Saskatoon, but to keep people safe across all of our neighborhoods. And while sometimes we might not always agree with the conclusions that they come to, and like I said, I'm guilty of that myself, we know that they've really got our best interests in traffic flow and neighborhood safety in mind. So appreciate their effort here and helping to make this process work. So I'm not sure if there's anything else that you could need from me at this time, Natalie, but just really appreciate everyone doing their part. And I know you'll have lots of feedback through this as well as through the Engage page, just because I can tell you over the last 8 years in representing Ward 10, I do hear a lot on traffic flow and traffic safety, and I know that Evergreen is no exception. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Jeffries, for those kind words about our program and our team. We definitely do work hard for our citizens, and we do try to make the best decisions for. So thanks again to everyone who participated. I'm not seeing any new comments in the question and answer discussion forum. So at this point, I think I will wrap up the meeting. I'm going to once again post the link to our survey so that we can get feedback about our online engagement and our neighborhood traffic review meetings. We're always looking to improve, and we appreciate your feedback. So as we mentioned earlier, the comment period will be open for another month. And once we close the comment period, we'll begin the data collection for the study, probably in the fall, once the travel behaviors start to normalize after the reopening from COVID pandemic. We're monitoring to make sure that those traffic volumes and patterns are close to typical or normal for the neighborhood, and then we'll begin the data collection. Once the data collection process is wrapped up, we'll be preparing a draft traffic plan and bringing that back to discuss with you and get your feedback about it before we finalize and implement the recommendations. Please feel free to reach out to us again if you have any questions or comments. Hang on one second, I'm just seeing something new in the question and answer forum. Oh, maybe it got published here. Oh, looks like it disappeared. All right, so please feel free to reach out to us if you think of any additional traffic concerns. We encourage you to share the information with your neighbors and other residents in your neighborhood so that everyone has an opportunity to participate. The more people we hear from, the more fulsome of a traffic plan you'll get at the end. We have multiple methods for submitting comments, and some of the contact information is on your screen now, and all the details will be posted on the Engage page. Please feel free to reach out to us via email, phone, the online survey, even you can mail in a letter as well, and submit comments on the Report a Traffic Issue app. Don't be strangers. We'll be working closely with you over the next bit as we develop the traffic plan and implement it. So I just wanted to take a moment to thank everyone for attending on behalf of Chelsea, Julian, and myself and the entire NTR team. Thanks for joining us and participating in the Evergreen Neighborhood Traffic Review. Thanks so much, and we'll chat with you next time.